enthusiasm, kind of on the eve of announcing a big announcement that I could not have done it without you, and Kristen cannot do this without you either. So thank you for the volunteers, for your sacrifice, for everything that you have done to get us here today. We are not done, and there is a lot left to be written in the history of Wisconsin state government.
Sure.
You know, people are upset in this state. We are divided. We are polarized like never before. People are upset because they feel their government officials have stopped listening to them and ignored their voices. They're upset because of the abuse of power that they are seeing down in Madison and the disregard for open and transparent government. They are upset about the tone and the tenor of dialogue down in Madison. It is broken, it is divided, and like I said, it is polarized like never before. I feel we have lost our Lake Wobegon political innocence here in Wisconsin in the last year. But we need leaders who are going to stand up for working families. We need leaders who are committed to upholding quality education system here in our state, if it's public, our K-12 public education system, our university system, our technical school system. We need people who are committed to affordable health care for people who, no fault of their own, find themselves in need of some temporary assistance from the state. We need people who are responsive to the people who have elected them, and to be respectful to those people who they may disagree with. We need a leader like Kristen Dexter in the state Senate. We need a leader like Kristen Dexter who is going to fight to keep that Wisconsin dream alive. You know, 12 months ago, Governor Walker and his allies stripped away 50 years of labor rights here in the state of Wisconsin. He divided the state like we have never seen before. He claimed that his budget was based on shared sacrifice. But where is the sacrifice? With $2.3 billion in tax cuts over the next 10 years for big corporations, at the expense of our public schools, $1.6 billion cut to our public education, $250 million cut to our university system, a $70 million cut to our technical school system, and a $500 million cut to Medicaid. Where is the shared sacrifice in that? We have seen 6 straight months of job losses here in Wisconsin. Since the budget was signed, 35,000 people, an additional 35,000 people in the last 6 months have found themselves unemployed. We're on the wrong track. And with leaders like Kristen Dexter, she'll get us on the right track. I know that the citizens of the 23rd Senate District have exercised their constitutional amendment to hold their elected officials accountable now. And that is why I am so excited to be here on this big day. I met Kristen, I served in the State Assembly with Kristen, and I had the pleasure of sitting next to her on the Assembly floor for a short time. And I was always impressed with her compassion for people, her articulation of the issues. She was hardworking. I sat next to her and I could see the notes that she had scribbled in the margins of her speeches that she spoke on the floor. She had things underlined, and when she had bills that she was going to speak about, she had handouts for all of us in the Assembly so that we knew exactly the points and the measures that she was going to be talking about on the floor. Kristen has an incredible work ethic. She is responsive to her constituents, and she has, as a fellow working mom with 2 young children, I admire Kristen's dedication to her family and to be able to juggle many, many things at once. And as we all know, many working moms, all of the balls that we juggle are glass. We can't afford to let any of them drop. And Kristen juggles them with such ease. So I can think of no other person who could step up, who could carry this flag for working families here in the state of Wisconsin, who can carry the message from the Chippewa Valley down to Madison, and then my good friend, Kristen Dexter. I am excited to introduce to you the next state senator from the 23rd Senate District, Kristen Dexter.
Thanks for the comments. Thanks for all of your hard work during this last year and for trying to be a firewall between the governor and the citizens of this state. Congratulations on your own election, and I sincerely hope that I'll have a chance to serve with you. Welcome, everybody, to Golden Corners. I saw Denise Hoy in here a few minutes ago. She's the owner of Denise, thank you so much for letting this become what it has become. Thank you. Thank you. Back in early November, this was just an empty lot. But on November 15th, everything changed, and it's now become something extraordinary and a part of the history of the Chippewa Valley. On November 15th, people began collecting the first of what would become 21,500 signatures to recall. Those signatures said, "We've lost our faith in you. You've changed. You've let us down, and now it's time for you to go." So this corner was given a name, the Golden Corner. Golden because of its outstanding location and the sheer volume of signatures that were collected here, something like 5,000 signatures from this spot alone. But it's also golden, yeah, no kidding, thank you for all of that. But it's also golden because it's where strangers became friends. People worked side by side, talking about their own lives and their own values, their own stories. This is where reasonable, average, no-nonsense Wisconsinites felt moved to leave the comfort of their homes and stand in the rain and the sleet and the snow with clipboards. And they did it because they believed that Governor Walker and Senator Moulton had violated the public trust and torn at the fabric of our state. So to the volunteers, your uncommon dedication to healing this divided state is the glue that kept this effort going. And now we're moving into phase 2. You've moved the ball so far down the field, and I'm honored to be the one who's going to pick it up and continue that drive down the field. But don't disappear, all of you. Stick around, because I'm going to need you. There have been many, many, many stories collected on this corner. And I, too, have a lot of stories collected from the thousands of doors I've knocked on. Like the older gentleman in a trailer house that looked like it was duct taped together, and he was so grateful for a mild winter because he knew he could afford to keep his house warm. Governor Walker and Senator Moulton could have done something about the weatherization program in Wisconsin, but they chose not to. They chose to ignore this man's story and thousands like his, and that's just not right. Then there was a 55-year-old woman who owned her own child care business, but couldn't afford health insurance, and then she got meningitis. And then the medical bills piled up. A life spent working hard, paying her taxes, and raising children, and now she's facing bankruptcy instead of retirement. Her business is the perfect candidate for a small business insurance exchange that other states are actually working on. But Walker and Moulton said, no, we're not going to allow that kind of common sense program here. And by doing so, they chose to ignore her story and tens of thousands of small business stories just like hers. And that is just not right. There's a long list of other things that aren't right. For 6 months in a row, Wisconsin has lost jobs. We are 45th among states for economic recovery. That's 5 from the bottom. Payrolls are down in Wisconsin, but up in 39 other states. 1 in 5 children in Eau Claire and Chippewa County comes from families that struggle to put food on the table, clothes on their backs, and gas in their gas tanks. 1 in 5 children. Nearly 60,000 people are in danger of losing their health care because of cuts to Badger Care. They will lose their health care. 30,000 of them, half of them, are children. The governor's cuts to public education are the 2nd largest in the nation. And Wisconsin now has the most burdensome voter law in the nation, which will make it harder for the elderly, the poor, and the non-white to vote in what used to be free and fair elections. As Jennifer said, pollsters have never seen a state this divided. But despite that, people still believe in the spirit of cooperation and compromise. They still want their leaders to work together. People believe that the values they're trying to teach their children every day are the same values they want to see in the people that they elect to represent them. But cooperation, team spirit, and compromise aren't words in the Walker-Moulton playbook. Many of us grew up learning about teamwork on the ball field or the hockey rink. We know the importance of being a team player. And I don't find fault with Terry Moulton for standing with his party. He's a Republican. I've stood with my party. I'm a Democrat. But 21,500 citizens have spoken, and I am here today because Senator Moulton didn't know when to put the districts before the party. And that's a sign of an out-of-touch leader, and it's time for him to go.
Yes, it is.
Terry's turned his back on average people and everyday families. The Tea Party agenda that he embraces has made the lives of ordinary people more difficult and uncertain. But much of it defies common sense. For instance, he owns a business that depends on sportsmen and women who want to fish in clean water. But he turns his back on them by voting to make it easier to pollute Wisconsin waterways. It doesn't make sense. Terry Moulton used to work in healthcare, but now he makes it more difficult for people to have access to the kind of healthcare he has. He claims healthcare is a choice, but I disagree. Because none of us knows when we're going to meet a drunk driver head-on, or when that lump is going to be cancer. Terry Moulton has forgotten what it's like to be a young parent, trying to make ends meet. When he sends a fundraising letter to constituents right after he votes to cut the paychecks of those very constituents, it doesn't make sense. He's no longer the person he used to be. Just like in Oz, the curtain has been pulled back, and the real Scott Walker and the real Terry Moulton have been exposed. I grew up watching hockey, so over the weekend I was going to check in with college hockey scores. So I turned on the TV, and I got sucked into a tribute to Herb Brooks. If you don't know who Herb Brooks is, he's the iconic coach for the Minnesota Gopher hockey team. He's also the guy that led the 1980 Olympic hockey team to a gold medal, and on the way they defeated the Russians. He's the reason behind the miracle on ice. So a former coach was talking about Herb Brooks saying, he called them Brookisms. Herb used to tell his players, "You're playing worse and worse each day, and right now, you're playing like it's next month." We can say the same for Senator Moulton and Scott Walker. You're governing worse and worse each day, and right now, you're governing like it's next month. If this was a hockey team, it would be time to say, on the bench, you're out of here. But this isn't a game. This is deadly serious. And we've got some serious work to do in the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months. I am ready. I know you're ready. Because you, the citizens and volunteers of the 23rd Senate District, have proven your strength and commitment to a cause far bigger than yourselves. And today I'm proud to show my commitment by putting my name on the ballot against Terry Moulton for the honor of representing the district.